everybody, welcome back. During the week, I broke a tooth in my sleep. It seems that I grind my teeth, and I guess I've been experiencing a lot more stress than I am aware. And yeah, I broke a tooth, and it made it very difficult for me to speak. So I waited until just yesterday. I got the tooth fixed. It's still feeling a little bit weird, so my speech might be a little bit off. I'm also a little bit unplugged this morning, but I came home very late from the garden last night, and as is the case in the summertime, I'm either usually covered in salt and sand or mud and spiders in my hair. I'm up on all the web trends, so I came home, just really had a quick shower to get all the mud and the spiders out of my hair and whatever other bugs might be crawling around on me. And I just fell into a really deep sleep. Getting back to my tooth for a moment, I was not aware that I was grinding my teeth. And this can be, I don't know, brought about by all kinds of things, but I'm thinking that this might be brought about by stress and anxiety. And I was not aware that I was experiencing any. And maybe for a while I wasn't during this period of pandemic times. In the beginning, I was sick with something, and that really stretched on until at least early to mid-May. So it's really only been a month that I've been back to my normal energy levels and really in the world coping with this pandemic. I started to notice that I was having maladaptive behaviors. Now, we all cope with stress in some way, and hopefully we have some self-soothing techniques that we can use when we're feeling anxious. But what I was doing, and I started to notice, was that I was buying extra things in my grocery haul every week. Our province said, stock up your pantry, but only do it a little at a time. And I would never have gone in and wiped the shelves clean, because I think that's just a despicable thing to do to your fellow human beings. But I was stocking up. And I'm a single person. At what point do I stop stocking up? So I noticed this about myself, and I thought, I think I might be handling my anxiety by making sure my pantry is full. Well, guess what? My pantry is full. In fact, it's overflowing. A friend of mine made a very good suggestion. She said, well, you seem to buy the same thing every week, so why don't you inventory how much you have, and then you'll know what you need. Well, I buy gluten-free pasta every week, and I don't eat a lot of gluten-free pasta. So with 23 boxes of gluten-free pasta, and yes, they're small boxes, they're not like regular pasta, but even still, 23 boxes of gluten-free pasta is at least pasta for a year. So I had to stop. I had to stop buying groceries. I realized I don't need any groceries for a good long while, because my freezer is stocked, my pantry is overflowing, and my garden is beginning to produce vegetables that I eat every day. So yeah, I can't be channeling my anxiety into shopping anymore. What I've been thinking about is the ways in which we self-soothe. And everybody has gained weight over this pandemic time. I've gained weight. And partly that's because I'm eating junk food that I bought just in case during our preparation for lockdown. And I normally don't eat that kind of stuff. And partly it's because I haven't been able to get out until recently into the garden, but I haven't been able to get out and walking in the parks or kayaking or any of the things that I normally would be doing in the summer. And I am not comfortable going back to the gym at the moment. So I'm not moving in the way that I used to move. So many of us have comfort eaten, and I know that some people have had a lot more alcohol or whatever medication of choice that they use to soothe themselves. And I think that this is really dangerous for our mental health. I think also being isolated is extremely dangerous for our mental health. Recently, I watched a Netflix series about a 16-year-old Black kid who was taken into custody in New York City. And he was actually innocent of the charges of stealing somebody else's backpack. But he ended up in Rikers Island, and anybody who's lived in New York knows Rikers Island is a very terrible place to be. I believe that they are now, as a result of what happened to this young man, closing Rikers Island. Thank goodness. But this kid, this baby, was put into solitary confinement for over a year. Long story short, this kid ended up sitting and rotting in Rikers Island in solitary while his trial was delayed and delayed and delayed, and he refused to plea bargain because he was innocent. But what happened was that due to this extended period of solitary confinement, this kid that went into custody happy and healthy came out with psychosis and all sorts of psychological problems, and he ended up taking his life. I really have been isolated, and I've noticed that I have become depressed, and I have become aggressive, and I have become anxious as a result of it. And these are things that are consistent with post-traumatic stress symptoms. They are consistent with what happens to an individual in solitary confinement. So to me, what I have realized is just how much I really need connection. And in the beginning of our lockdown, I was doing an awful lot of meditation and prayer, and I was on social media being an encouragement and publicly posting my gratitude practice. And a friend of mine suggested that maybe it would be good to take a step back and really take care of myself. Now that's really good advice for a lot of people. But as much of an introvert as I believe I am, I'm an extrovert. And so this was not a good piece of advice for me. I really need to be engaging with people, and I find meaning in being public about my gratitude practice. So when life loses meaning, that's a pretty awful place to be all on your own. So in lockdown, these two ideas have become extremely important to me. The idea of connection and the idea of being able to self-soothe one's own anxiety. Now, we know that connection came to the surface very early, and we've had one fantastic collaboration around connection. But I've got a couple of others already in the works about different ways of connecting. And I'll be bringing them to you in the weeks and months to come as well this year. Over the next few weeks, I'm going to be exploring the ways in which I can be self-soothing without self-medicating. And I consider buying 23 boxes of pasta a form of self-medicating, as much as drinking too much or eating too much or taking drugs. One of the things that I find to be particularly soothing is water. So if I can't get near the water or I can't get on the water, then I get in the water. So that's my self-soothing tip for the day, is to get into some water. Now, if you're near a body of water where you can swim physically distant from others, the crows are going crazy out there, then that's fantastic. There's something about the rhythmic movement and breath combining that puts me into a very meditative state. If you can't do that, then a nice hot bubble bath is always a very relaxing alternative. And if you don't have a bath, and you know, I lived for several years somewhere with only a shower, which I don't know how I survived, then a shower in the morning and in the evening can help to put you into that sort of flow state for at least a few minutes. I just noticed flow and water. I guess there's some connection there, isn't there? So today I'm grateful that I have both. a bathtub and a shower. I'm grateful also that I'm going back to the garden and my friends are going to help me to move some soil. And thirdly, I'm so grateful for those people who are in my bubble. And I'm grateful for those who are not necessarily in my physical bubble, but who remain in contact with me via text message or email or Zoom or however we manage to connect. My moment of oneness was working with my fellow gardeners, and it's actually such a joy because we turn on some music and we laugh, and it's like we have a bit of a party every night in the garden. It's been really, really delightful to have that experience, even in our limited circumstances of lockdown. And I've shared with you today the ways in which my mental health has been negatively impacted by lockdown in order to, as a service, offer some suggestions about connection and ways of soothing oneself in a positive way. And it's not like I know all the answers because I wasn't even aware I was suffering anxiety. A broken tooth and a bit of aggression this week has been a very good sign that I am not okay. So I really hope that if you have ways that you soothe yourself, you'll continue to share with us in the comments so that we can all benefit from one another's experience. If you like this video and you'd like to see more about gratitude and different ways in which we can practice gratitude, ways in which we can feel connected, and in the next couple of weeks, ways in which we can positively self-soothe in this time of great anxiety, then please do subscribe. And if you'd like to know as soon as I upload, click the bell icon and you'll be informed. For what are you most grateful today?